Let me get my mic right.
5 minutes later. 15 minutes later.
3, 2, 1. I'm good now.
All right, we are back.
Yeah.
Deeply Opinionated podcast. This is part 2 of What is Love. The last one was kind of cut short because of time restraints. But we are back. We're going to tackle some of you guys' questions. We're also going to get to a few things that we didn't really get to before. And so we'll start. How was your week, man?
Oh man, I had a good week. It was a busy week though, but it was a good week. A lot of running around. But we did have playoff basketball this week. We did get the win last night in the semi, so we on to the finals next week.
Oh, word.
Yeah, playing this league over off Providence.
Okay.
With some of the dudes in the hoop group chat.
Like who?
Like Johnny, Dan.
Oh, okay. That league that you talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have semifinals last night. We was in there cooking.
That's what's up. I had a productive week, man. Pretty productive week. Average week. Nothing spectacular. But so let's dive back in. So what was some of the feedback you was getting?
Oh, from part one, I got a lot of good feedback. It was I was told that I should say more. Like people feel like I'm not saying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that means like a lot as in the time I talk, or a lot as in I need to say more about or explain myself in a more in depth.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
But they like, I feel like they the overall it was really good feedback.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't think that I know sometimes when we're on the podcast the feedback is it's more on an individual basis,
mm-hmm.
but I felt like they felt like this one kind of flowed a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's one of them topics that
Yeah, it does. It can take you a lot of places. That's the same thing. What I got a lot of responses. Sometimes people individually respond to you based off them knowing you,
right,
and not just like a person on the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. So I take a lot of things with a grain of salt, but the feedback was everybody was asking, when is part 2? Part 1 was so good. Mm-hmm. That's just I like to hear that because that lets me know we're doing what we need to be doing when people are, able to watch something and kind of get a perspective from men who are not really ashamed to be real, mm-hmm. and be upfront about how we feel about things. One of the questions that a lot of people were saying, well, I did see this, right? A lot of people wanted to give me, a lot of people wanted to give me what their definition of love is, mm-hmm. right? And what I realized is it's a million different definitions of what people think love means.
And what's funny though is because that's 5 love languages, right? You can love somebody so like you love them with all your heart, like you would die literally from a heartbreak if they weren't with you.
Right.
That's how much love you put into it. But that is not what that person views as love. Right?
So it's crazy.
So it's going to be all those different definitions. The goal in love, I feel like, is to try and find out what that other person is, and then you adapt to that, or you already have that. I guess that's a soulmate, right?
Is love science?
I think so.
It's a science to love?
I don't think that you could put it together scientifically, but I think in the end you can look at it and say oh, I know how this happened. 1 + 2 = 3.
I think love is 100% scientific.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Why?
Because, like I said, man, when we are born, we are blank canvases. We are 100% blank canvases. You can take a black parent and two black parents. They have a child. The day that child is born, you take that child and go raise that child with a Russian family. That child is going to grow up Russian, speaking Russian. He's not going to wake up one day and be saying, nah, where my niggas at?
Right.
No, he's raised by a Russian family. He's a blank canvas. That black child will be raised by a Russian family and think like a Russian and abide by Russian rules because we're blank canvases. The analogy of when people talk about love, what is the mascot for love? The symbol.
The heart.
Right. The heart is an illusion. There is no heart. Your heart beats in your chest. It does one thing.
Right.
Pump blood through your body.
Yeah, but I think it's symbolic.
It's not. It's symbolic, but it doesn't mean anything.
Right, yeah.
People associate love with a heart, and people say, my mind's telling me no, and my heart's telling me yes. And they're not two separate things. One of them is an illusion. The heart is not a separate thing from the brain. Everything that's going on that you call heart, love, that's happening in your brain. Your heart. The heart doesn't exist. It's not controlling that.
Yeah.
Your brain is controlling
doing
that.
all that. Right.
So all the things that you feel and you're visually seeing or hearing through your senses, you're identifying that, hey, somebody told me love is when a man does that right there. And now that I believe what they told me, I see that right there, and now my body has the feelings of love. It's the satisfaction of finding what somebody told you love is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think that is very scientific when you break it down to where you're raised, the environment you were in growing up, schooling, all of that. I feel like it can be broken down to a science if somebody really just sat down and broke it down to a science.
This is perfect. So it's funny because you say it's scientific.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's kind of scientific that you couldn't put it together, but there's a show. It's called I don't know what it's called, but it's a show where two people get together for the first time and they get married,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then on this show
I know what you're talking about. I never watched the episode.
Yeah, me either. But so I'll know it.
Mm-hmm.
I just said. So I was gonna be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
They called me to be on the show. I did the interview to be on the show. And she was telling me, you got a doctor, psychologist, you go see a relationship specialist, marriage counselor. You see all these people individually,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go find somebody and they match you up.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like 9 or 10 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
and they have like 7 marriages that are still ongoing and like 4 with children.
Mm-hmm.
So they would probably agree with you that they could mark it down to a science fairly easy.
Right.
What I'm saying is that in the context of what we were talking about is that when you had this idea of what love is to you, and everyone has their own specific definition.
Right.
If your idea of love projected onto someone else is exactly what they view as love, then that's when they say like a soulmate, because that
Mm-hmm.
connection fits perfectly. Right? There really is hardly any compromise, if any at all.
Mm-hmm.
But then in other situations, you might have to, like 80% of what I give you is what you would view as love, and you're okay with that. You're perfectly fine with that, right? And I feel like it's that constant struggle trying to find that with somebody, and that takes a little bit of time to do. But sometimes you find it, and it works.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Is sometimes the math problem works.
So
there's no remainder.
You can bring it. So you can get it down to a science, but still, I like to think that you never know how you're gonna click with somebody. Well, I guess when you're going into the situation, you'll never know it. But if two people play matchmaker and they're really good at it and they know it's science behind it, they can put it together. But other than that, in the real world, you're just walking around trying to find it, bump into it. Like, let me get 60-40.
Right. It's like it's like even like the idea that there's one person out there for us, that one special person somewhere out there mystically waiting for us to find them, right? Even that's bullshit because listen, the reason that it is because I think about where someone tries to find relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Most of the time it's people you work with, friends of people you hang out with, or somebody you see in your social circles, whether you're going to church or you're part of fraternity, sorority, parties, clubs, whatever, right? So if everybody's looking for the one, right? Mm-hmm. And I know people answer to this is like, we have the internet now, you can talk to anybody anywhere, right? But the ideology of there's one person for everybody has been a consistent thing before the internet.
Yeah.
So it's always been people thinking that there's one person out there for us, right? Okay, so if you live in Charlotte, is everybody who's single in Charlotte, is there one in Charlotte too?
No, I don't know.
Right, you see what I'm saying? Like, what is the likelihood that people are like, after catfish and everything that's going on now, who's really taking like internet relationships like serious now? So it's become, as far as like, it's still a couple fools out there, but we acknowledge them as fools. You know what I'm saying? Like if you it's just, come on, it's hard enough to trust the person that lives with you. Did trust the person who lives across the country and y'all talk on Facebook. Like, anybody who's indulging in that, like, you just like something's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're wholeheartedly like, I never met him before, I never FaceTime before. Like, come on now, it's like 62 million apps that you can FaceTime on the computer, on a phone. So if you're still like, if that's still what it is, you just crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
don't date people from the internet. Yeah, you better meet them first, man.
Bruh. So like, just like everybody who's single in Charlotte, is there one gonna happen to be in Charlotte with them? Because that's what we're searching, like in our circles, like that's where we're finding the opposite sex, whether it's at the gym, job, social circles,
that's
whatever.
always been the same too.
Right. Yep. So it's like, what's really going on? I don't think that there's one person for everybody. Yeah. I don't think that there's one mystical person who's going to be perfect for you. I think if you're waiting, anytime you're waiting for a human to be perfect, you're going to be disappointed a lot, because humans are humans. They're going to disappoint you. Like, that's kind of like where I've reached like in my life is like, and they say it's like when you get around this age of 30, you start to thinking like this, and it's like you kind of would rather be alone than to give people the chance to disappoint you. So as far as like family, friends, relationships, whatever, you would rather be alone than to give people the chance to disappoint you because of continuous disappointment you've seen in the past. Mm-hmm. So, I don't even know why I said that.
No, you good.
What did I say that for? I lost my train of thought just that quick.
About, well, since you lost your train of thought, see if I can help. You're old. when you get around 30, you said when you get around 30, you start to think you'd be better off
You think
single or alone than with someone who's going to end up disappointing you.
Right. And alone sounds sad, but sometimes people are the most happy alone. Yeah. Like, I love to be like
man,
alone.
Kevin Gates said being alone makes you strong.
Man, I love to leave like by myself sometimes. Yeah. Like, nobody bother me, don't text me, don't call me. Yeah. Let me just chill and do whatever I want to do in that moment. I love to be like alone. So it doesn't bother me. But I think that, you know, as you get older and things are changing fast, man. It's like we hold on to, everybody says, yo, I want my grandmother's love. I want my grandmother and grandfather had. But, you know, Grandma and Grandpa didn't have Facebook and social media, and they didn't have these social constructs that made it very hard for them to live up to people's standards. Like, sometimes, like, I see women talk about the guy that they want, right? And they say he's got to be tall, he's got to have a beard, he's got to have a college degree, good credit, pay all of their bills, do whatever they want them to do. And these women like wholeheartedly believe like this is what their love is going to look like. And I'm like, you know, finding love is going to be hard for that person who thinks that that is what love is going to look like for them. And also on the flip side, it makes it hard for men as well to live up to that standard because it's not reality. Like when we get to talking about,
it can be reality for some men.
it can, but it's hard.
Yeah, I mean,
for all the things that I just named.
I mean, yeah, it depends on where you're looking, but I'm with you. Go ahead.
I don't think you can search
many
places where you can find everything I just named.
I just want to know, like, are you? Is she asking him outright for like, let me see your credit score? Like, how do you broach that topic? Like, I see you got a lot of credit cards.
They are.
What's your credit score?
They missed their calling. A lot of these girls should have been FBI agents.
Yeah.
They could be getting checks right now. They want a nigga to pay their bills. Nah, change your profession. Join the FBI. Yeah. They have a job for you.
Yeah.
These girls investigate with just all they got is social media. Like, they'd be all in your tag pictures.
Yeah, they be doing that. But I will say that throughout time, men that just by shared luck of the draw, you would meet someone. If you put a bunch of people together in a group, some of those people are going to connect. It's just natural. It's going to happen that way.
Right. We
call that love. So, like, that's going to happen. But what happens to everyone else in the group who didn't connect? Right. Is there something wrong with that? Is there, like, we come up with the idea of whether or not something is wrong with that. We decide whether being 50 and alone or 60 and alone or 70 and alone and so on. Alone is because you failed at something in life. Or maybe what if you just tried and tried and tried and you just didn't ever find it? Right? Now you feel like you really, really failed or something like that. So that we put value on that part of it.
Right.
But as far as just finding it, we're always gonna look for it because that's in place too, and we're gonna call it love. But you don't necessarily have to have it. It's not a bad thing if you do have it. It's not a bad thing if you don't have it. Right. So,
I feel like in that time construct is where also men and women kind of miss each other too, because women are on a time clock. They can only have kids by and they know that, you know what I'm saying? They feel like, they've been planning this out their whole life. Like, I'm gonna be married by this time, I'm gonna have my career at this time, kids right here. So the older that women get, the more they think about, damn, I need to be having kids. Like, I don't got much longer because they have a time clock. Men are more chilled and relaxed because that pressure is not on us.
That's true too.
Is to, you need to be married by this time because we can always produce.
You know what I want to know? I want to know when man first evolved, what was dating like? Did you mate with someone for life? Were you mate with everybody just to reproduce? What was going on? I want to look that up.
I definitely think like the caveman was just like smashing.
Yeah, everything. Because naturally, I don't know, but I feel like the term caveman, it would be a dominant male hierarchy. So the men would beat up on the other men who were weaker. There would be one up top, and then the women would kind of fall down because they were, weaker, and the men could physically overcome them. So I'm assuming that's how it was. Like there was no monogamy. It was we're gonna reproduce and we're all gonna be strong and powerful. Right. And then. But
monogamy is man-made though.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people forget that.
But is it man-made though?
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
So just the idea of being with one person forever, I don't know, but I I would push back and say that just by random luck of the draw, two people are going to meet and they just might just happen to be together forever. And the more people there are, the more often it's going to happen.
You used two words. You said luck and draw. That means there's chances, right?
Yeah.
So
chances for them to succeed, though,
right.
and chances for them to fail.
But there's this thing called statistics where they actually keep the actual numbers of how this trend of marriage is going. It's going the wrong way fast.
Right. That going now. But again, let's look back at throughout history. What was the trend then versus now? Because it's gonna sway. We might be in a dip.
It hasn't swayed.
Be in a dip.
It hasn't swayed though.
What do you mean?
It's continuously going down. It's never like going down. It came up.
That means it was up at one point in time.
Right, but you said sway. Sway means back and forth. It's not going back and forth.
Right, but it didn't go. Well,
it's like jumping off a building.
If it didn't sway, we haven't lived long enough to see it sway. Done.
Don't. That's super positive. That's super positive. That was super positive. I'm gonna let you have that. I'm gonna let you have that one because that was super positive. But I don't know. The way it's looking, man, is just like jumping off a building without a parachute. Yeah. But and it's just getting worse because of this social media shit. This shit is the devil, bro. And I know how social media affects me, and I would consider myself as one of the ones with a strong mind and strong opinions when it comes to social media, and actually sees as far as what's going on with technology. Period. Right. And I still see how I deal with it. I just imagine by somebody who's very weak-minded and easily influenced, how they're handling social media. And
I'm gonna say not only that, but if anything that you see, anything that you hear, is hypersexualized. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be hearing, and listen, if you ask people who make a lot of motivational speeches and things of that nature, how important it is to put certain type of things to feed your mind with just being positive and being self-aware, just reinforcing those things by listening to them, and how just doing it just a little bit can change the way you live. Right now, imagine you're just only doing that with sex constantly every single day. You're just throwing that back every single day. So now you see the images, you hear it every day. Your hormones are always on go. You've got pills to get you in the mood. Like, all these things added up. They were never in play before, right? Back then, you were at one point in time you just worked and probably went home, and you maybe were in a town with like 20 people. So if you cheated, your neighbors was going to tell your wife before you was even done, and she was going to be beating down the door. So, but now you have all that, so it's something else to consider when you're talking about how relationships are. And that's why I think that's why you see a lot of movies now. They try to portray that. Well, they've been always doing this since they made film, but portray that rekindling the relationship. But now even more, I would say that's heightened.
I feel like America is obsessed with defining things. We're always trying to discover something new. We're always trying to define things, but it seems like with relationships, we're not evolving in the thinking of relationships, because we.
So you mean like having like 4 wives?
I don't know. I don't want to deal with 4 fucking women at the same time. Are you fucking crazy? Hell no. People be acting like that shit is crazy.
Yeah. Wait, why you say that?
I don't want to deal with 4 women attitudes at the same time, bro.
Yeah. I distracted you. You was about
to we can go there. I don't people be hyping that shit up, 12 wives, 10 wives. Nigga, no. Yeah. No. I do not want 4 wives.
Why do you think guys get away with why do you think that men like it? And how do you think that they
I don't think that men like it. I don't think that men like it, bro. I think men are natured to talk about that shit. Niggas don't be about that life.
What if they do, though? What about the men who actually have multiple wives? Like 6 wives?
Because
you got 6 wives.
Because the 6 wives have been nurtured since birth to understand that that's what they're supposed to grow up to be.
What if that wasn't the case? What if it was a woman from Chicago, a woman from New York, one from Missouri?
Show me where. I want to see it. Show me a man who has 6 wives and all Americanized women.
Brother Polite.
Those women are not Americanized. They are in depth of that culture that he preaches.
They weren't. So only he was with he was with his one wife for the longest, since they were like, I think like 14 in their teens.
Right.
But the rest of them, he explained that they all have functions in his life for things that they do. The criteria for having a wife, the women pick the wives, and they all have to be on the same wavelength. So I mean, he make it work.
Right.
And
if I give you a basketball and I tell you to throw it at the rim on the other side of the court, you're gonna make one of those motherfuckers.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So he's just the one that made it.
I'm asking you.
Most dudes, he has the mental capacity to control his environment. He has a mouthpiece as well to be able to talk to those women in a way where they want to be that for him.
For sure.
The average Joe can't juggle 6 women.
Right.
He can't juggle 6 women in secret.
So he does it because he does it well. What about somebody else?
I don't think the average person could do it.
What do you think? But let's talk about the unaverage person, the special person.
I consider myself special. I could not balance 6 women.
All right. So we got to go level up above you then.
I've never seen that level before. Is there a level up
It's
there?
like Saudi princes with like 6 wives.
But I feel like that's ego shit. That don't have nothing to do with actually. I would give Brother Polite the pass. He's the one I don't think that's off ego. I really think he believes what he's saying. I really think he has a lot of logic behind what he's saying.
Smart brother.
Yeah, he's smart, very smart. He's the one I would give the pass on, like, actually doing it the right way and with a purpose and with meaning and belief. So, but come on, the average dude, like, yo, that type of person.
Yeah. Nah.
No.
I'm with you
but
on
but go but like whatever above me, I don't know what's above me, but whatever.
You above me, so I'm looking up.
Well, whatever.
I see you.
I'm looking for a wife, man. Those days are gone. But even then, man, it's like Americanized women are, nurtured to be selfish and don't want to share a man. They've been, cultured in that for so long, and they've been, however old they are, 25, 26, they've been that person for 26, 27, 28, 29. They've been that person for that many years. It's hard to break that just because this one dude is trying to introduce you to his 5 other wives. Like most in those situations, just like you said, a prince. In those situations, women are money is an issue amongst all Americans. We want it too fucking much. And because we want it, there are some things that we will do for money. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women who would sign up to be wife number 6 for a prince in Dubai, because he's a prince in Dubai. They're going to be treated like queens, going to get money, live the lavish life, buy all the Fashion Nova they want to buy. So it's like, why wouldn't I'm out here dating and these niggas ain't shit? Might as well go live the life with a fucking prince. And you know what I'm saying? So, but I don't think that, I just don't want to deal with 6 women. Jesus Christ, that's like a nightmare.
That's a lot of women.
Could you just imagine they put you in a house with 6 women and you got to stay in there for a month.
If they all cool together.
But that's not going to happen. There's 6 strangers.
6 strangers. We coming into
under
the idea.
So y'all go to the cabins. Y'all go to the cabins.
Right.
They put cameras everywhere.
Like Big Brother, but just like The Bachelor.
Right.
Just The Bachelor.
Not even The Bachelor. You're just there.
Yeah.
You there's no objective for you to sleep with anybody. It's just you and 6 women, and y'all locked in a house for 2 months.
That's different than 6 women that I'd be married to.
No, I don't think it is.
I think it would, because if you pick 6 random women and put them in the crib with me, the interactions are going to be different than if you put 6 women who I'm married to in the same house.
Right, but you have to,
and they know that.
But you have to get to the point of marrying them.
Okay.
You don't meet 6 women at one time and like, hey, y'all, we getting married. It's a process with each one.
But you just put them all in the house with me. Why would you put? Why can't you put me one-on-one in the house with a woman and get married, and then we'll go us 2 will go to the next house together.
Right. Okay.
And then us 3 will go to the next house together, and the 4 of us will go to the next house.
What level you think you'll make it to?
I don't know.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. You gotta marry the first one first.
That's what I'm saying.
Off a stranger interaction, you gotta build up and marry her.
Exactly. That's why you put them one-on-one in the house together. That's how you.
Close
quarters.
After
no relations.
After you get to the point where you convince this Americanized woman to accept another woman, you're gonna go from that house to the other house with the second woman. Somehow date her and convince her to join you 2.
Yeah. Yep.
And then now you tell both of them that there's one more I want to add. And y'all go over there. Now you convince the third to accept the other 2.
See, you're making the classic mistake. You're making like I'm in charge. I'm not in charge. I'm just saying something,
right?
And then I'm saying I'd be saying to I'm imagining I'd be saying to I ain't been in this situation yet, but this is fun right now. So I'd be in this situation.
This is bullshit.
I'd be in a situation where I would have to relinquish power of whoever else is coming into a relationship, and if anyone does come into a relationship, to the first wife. And then if she felt that another woman would be a benefit to our family, to the culture we're trying to build as a family, to the legacy, that is that.
Right.
Then she finds the next one.
Right.
And then we agree on that.
All that shit. You say all that shit, and a woman. Oh, you can.
That's how it would work.
All right. You can say all of that shit, and all a woman hears is another woman. You can say all of that good shit, and all she hears is, "You want to bring another woman into this?"
Right. But but that's a conversation that you have.
Bruh, you talk about this shit like it would be so easy to manage. It's not. It wouldn't be easy to manage at all. It would be stressing. You lose all your hair, V.
At times it would be, I feel like.
Bruh, trying to convince 6 Americanized women to...
Why they gotta be Americanized?
Because that's the point. That's the point of why it won't work. In those countries where...
What's Americanized, though? I feel like you're putting, like...
Any woman who's any woman that was born in America and was raised in America. She is Americanized. She has been cultured and natured in this bullshit.
Why you put me... I can't even win in that scenario.
That's my point. That's why I said polygamy wouldn't work in America. It only works for women who have been nurtured since birth to believe that that's the right way.
But again, what we said, out of all these people, it's some people out there.
Right, and that's why I went to the analogy. If I give you a basketball and tell you to throw it at the rim at the other side of the court, you're going to hit a couple.
Yeah, but you asked me how I do
Those
it.
Are the
now
couple.
You know how I would do it.
Yeah, and you would fail miserably.
All right. Well, at least I had a plan.
You'd be stressed the fuck out. You'd be in there, get beat up by the first wife for bringing it up. And they're blocking the shit. I'm sorry, it was just an idea.
I'd be walking from house to house solo. beat up each time. Yeah.
I got nobody leaving with you to go to the next house.
Nope.
That should be ass.
That was a funny little exercise, though.
Right. That's I know niggas be talking that shit. Like, I know dudes. We kind of get going off on a tangent, but whatever.
We still talking about love.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere. So, like, it's just like with like threesomes. I know we had that conversation before, but it's like plenty of niggas who be talking about they want a threesome until they get in a threesome.
Right.
I've had homeboys come back to me like, that's not for me. It's not for me. I don't want to do it anymore. Niggas be in the corner balled up watching the girls on the bed go crazy. Talking about what about me? You forgot about me? No, bro. You first have to know that they used you. They really want to intertwine with a girl. They just brought you. No, we ain't gonna go back into it. They brought you into the situation to feel comfortable enough to not say it's a full gay situation. But we're not gonna dive.
Yeah,
we're not
alright,
gonna go all the way back
yeah.
into that because it's the whole thing.
Yeah, because
It's
I
the
was
whole
over
thing.
here, but yeah.
It's the whole thing. I've been a part of
But-
all different kinds of threesomes though. I've been the person who was used before, but I like to watch.
Multiple different facets within that.
Right.
We'll say that.
I don't mind watching,
Yeah.
so that don't really bother me. But anyway,
Questions.
questions.
Do we get any questions? Did you get any questions? Okay.
Yeah, I did get a few questions. They wanted to know what love means to all of us individually. And I know y'all see Ty's not here, but he couldn't make it today, so we'll have him back when we have him back.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wanted to know individually what is our individual idea of what love is.
Go ahead, man.
I knew you was gonna throw it back at me. Pause. Whoa.
Hey, you.
Hey, yo. That was wild. Pause all of that. I might have to edit that one out. That was crazy right now. But yo, I might have to edit that joint out. Yo. So I don't know, man. I think mine constantly changes, and I think my expectations have kind of lowered. I feel like I was that person who was having, over the top expectations as far as like what a woman should be. Now, I still have high expectations, and I'm not easily impressed, but I do feel like what my standard used to be or outlook of like what love is supposed to feel like, what it's supposed to look like, I think it has come down some because I've come to the realization of, people's idea of love has been cultivated and nurtured through the eyes of America, which is really superficial. When a lot of times when people say what the attributes are, I got my own house. Well, congratulations on being an adult. I got my own car. How else you gonna get to work?
Right.
How else you gonna take your kids wherever you gotta take them? I went to college. They started listing superficial shit, right? You could have all of that shit and still be a horrible person. So I've come to understand that it's like people's idea of love has been cultivated through that. So you can't have such high expectations. You can still maintain a high expectation, but it can't be like out of what's presented to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to accept no bullshit, but you have to understand that it's shit that you're gonna have to communicate with whoever you're talking to clear up between you two, to have an understanding of what each other's view is. It's rare that you're gonna meet a person and y'all just click and you don't have to have conversations. Conversations are gonna have to happen. You're gonna have to be able to, learn each other and learn what each other understands as, okay, because you did this, that made me feel loved. And because I did this, that made you feel loved.
Right.
So I would say that my definition of what love is, it constantly changes. But there are certain things that, that make my brain, give my body the feeling of being loved. So what I would list, if there was like a list, I would say somebody who's honest, somebody who knows how to communicate, someone who's thoughtful, somebody who's proactive and not reactive, and someone who's loyal.
I would say
That would be my idea of love.
I would agree with you on change, the personal change. I think I think what love is changes just over time. Period. For each of us, because I probably more value on it at certain points in time, and we're somewhere on that at the moment. But I would say honesty is right now, and why I say it changes because I think all those qualities you listed as qualities that are representative of love is it changes because your each of those qualities goes up and down. Because in the past you didn't have to worry about if your wife was cheating on you or if your husband was cheating on you. You knew he wasn't because they believed in God. Like they were just so religious that they knew that they couldn't do that ever, right? So, but now you have more to worry about because the restrictions and the belief and those things kind of dissipate over time, and you're religious, but you go to church on Sundays, but you don't practice it Monday through Saturday night, type deal. So over time, that we're in a place now where that honesty is, you have to believe that someone's being honest with you and trustworthy and loyal. Like those are elevated qualities that you might not have had to have in the past. At least that's just how I'm looking at it, to go with that. But so I agree with those qualities, and what it is to me is some of those things. It's somebody that you can be comfortable around. You got to be able to be comfortable around this person, and when I say comfortable, I mean you have to be able to just lay out all of your faults as a human. All the things that you don't like about yourself, you expose that to this person, and they accept it and they make you feel comfortable. I think that's big. You'll be spending so much time with this person, you need to be able to be yourself to the max, and know that they accept it. Know that they still with you 7 days a week. So that's very important, just being comfortable around somebody. Honesty, always important. But I think it's more about the intangibles, the laughs, the personality, the ability to relate to the person that you're talking to, and have that connection, and to build a special bond. I think all those things make love. But these are all qualities that you can have with friends. But the difference is you would probably spend more time with this person, a little bit more time with this person for over the span of your life than your friends. And you would probably be more intimate with this person, obviously. But so that's kind of how I look at it. Those are the qualities that I think represent what love is.
I could when people was volunteering their definition of what love is in my DMs. I had some interesting conversations, and it was so interesting to me to see what people listed as love. Like some people were saying like, a person who doesn't cheat is someone who loves you, and I was like, that's it. That's it.
You ain't got nothing else on that list.
Just cheating. So as long as he's faithful, he loves you.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
Ask Tina Turner.
I mean, people, they don't understand. They don't understand the difference. They think men think like women, and they approach us thinking like we think like women, but we don't. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting. It was super interesting to see what people listed like a lot of superficial stuff, and I was like, damn. Like, what about communication?
Yeah.
Like, what about knowing someone's loyal to you? What about knowing, somebody knowing when to rub your back?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
he loves me when he doesn't like other chicks' pictures on Instagram.
Bruh, it was like stuff like that. It was like we've literally like given so much power to a like. It's insane. Like, the fact that there are some dudes out there who are getting like checked by their girl for liking a picture. To me, that's the most like immature shit in the world. Because this is the thing.
But you don't live in that. You don't live in that world where it means something to you. They're in that, or he or she, whoever it is in that world where that means something. It probably means that they getting it from their friends. Like, yo, why is he liking all these pics of hers?
Let me tell you why it's idiotic, right? Because I can see that picture, and I like that picture,
right,
and never double tap it.
Yeah.
It doesn't change me.
Yep.
It doesn't change. It doesn't change who I am.
Just
because the guy doesn't like the picture, that doesn't mean.
Let me draw this analogy, because if you with your girl and y'all walking, and you pass a girl, and she got a big butt, and you want to look at it,
mm-hmm.
if you look at it from the front, you cool,
mm-hmm.
right? While y'all walking, she ain't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
She don't know you looked. She can guess, but it wasn't inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
The moment she passed you and you turn your head, and she see you turn that head,
mm-hmm.
now it's an issue, right?
Right.
The like, that's all that the internet has done, is made it
visual.
More likely for you to get put in that scenario where you have to choose like or don't like. Now, mind you,
that
you already
insane,
right. But yeah, right.
Think about what you just said.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You see a picture and you're
Yeah.
like, damn, do I like this or do I don't like this?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like it because she might see it.
But
wow, I would never live like that.
Right, but then think about it like this though. You already following this person. If it was the issue of you liking the picture versus you looking at the picture, then that's only the perception that it puts out to the public.
Right.
Because that makes it known to everyone else that you like that picture.
Right.
But anybody can see it, you still follow that person.
Right.
It only takes another tap of a button to figure it out.
Right.
Right? But that's not the issue. The issue is you letting it be known to everybody else that you like that picture. But now, think about how much time you spend on social media. Right? If you live in this world, think about how much time you spend on social media. You're constantly on social media every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably scrolling so much that you're catching like old stuff, like
mm-hmm.
like yesterday's stuff, or
mm-hmm.
the day before last week's stuff, depending on how many people you follow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're getting all that, all that, and like you're gonna like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've liked 15 of her pictures, then that could have been over the course of a year. But when you go to that page and you see all those likes, then you know how they register. He just liked every last one of these motherfuckers today.
Mm-hmm.
Today. And I'm going to treat him just like he did. Yeah.
That is fucking crazy, bro. Like I be wondering like,
and that applies male and female.
I want to do like a social experiment, right? I want to do a social experiment, right? Where
Let's build that.
you post a picture, right? I have a picture on the TV, right?
This is copyrighted, by the way.
have a picture on the screen, right? And then like have girls at a table, right? And then tell them that your man just liked that picture. Write down your thoughts. And the person with the most thoughts, you got to make them say, don't hold nothing back. So the person with the most thoughts wins.
Be yourself.
You got 15 seconds to write the most thoughts. Whoever has the most thoughts wins. So now you're ready writing down all your thoughts because you want to have the most thoughts. And then at the end, I just want to read what they wrote. I just want to read what they wrote. Your man just liked this picture.
Yo.
What are your first thoughts?
Comment in the comment section that same scenario. If your man just liked the pictures, list 5 things that come to your mind.
Yo, I might make that shit a game show on this fucking podcast. Right now, I'm gonna show girls the pictures, have them sit down and write down 15 seconds. Got it. The clock
Stop
right here.
watching and everything.
Who got how many you got? And have them read it out loud and we talk about it.
That's right.
Start a fucking game show for real. Call it Perception of the Internet.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's
funny.
Right. I'm hold on. That's copywritten. Don't steal my shit.
I already said, yeah, they already know that.
Yo, people be hitting me about podcasts all the time. Like, yo, how I start? Like, what do I do to start? Like, don't. Just keep watching my shit. Everybody's not meant to be behind a microphone, right?
Keep watching. Stay tuned.
Just because you have an opinion don't mean that you need a podcast. And I think it's starting to get like drawn out because it's a few people who started podcasts that I watched their podcast and I'm like, bro, y'all really just sitting around not talking about nothing, like giving no kind of perspective, goofing off, and like,
right.
you know, like people ask me all the time, like, yo, can I come on the podcast? I'm like, I don't mind people coming on, but I just like to have, you know, perspective-filled conversations. I don't want to argue. I don't want to blame women and they blame us and we get to a dick measuring contest of who's to blame. I don't know, man. I just don't want people to water this shit down just because you're capable of going to go get a laptop and some microphones and just talk. It's gonna make everything. It's gonna make podcasts corny once everybody starts doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm not trying to shoot nobody down. Do your thing. You know, I want everybody to win, but just be adding to.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
add value
Yeah.
to what's going on. Speak truth, speak real. Try to uplift. You know, keep people in positive mindsets. Be real when it's time to be real. Be compassionate when it's time to be compassionate. But I don't know. I be feeling kind of funny when people be asking me for. I'm like, yo, I follow you. You don't be talking about nothing. Like, but you know what I'm saying? It's you know. But there's nobody that asked me and I curved them. I gave everybody, you know, this is what you need. These are the devices that you need to record. This is what I edit on. You know, if you ask me, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna hold it back, whether I feel like you should start one or not. Yep. I still give you the information because I'm not gonna hold nobody back. Do whatever you love, however I can help, I'm gonna help. But that don't mean I have to like the fact that you're trying to start a podcast.
No.
But what were you talking about before that?
I appreciate that. Rose also told me, he gave me that information. He gave me that game.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something too.
But you should still do that, like when you get up there.
Yeah. Well, I kind of put mine on hold because I was I really, you know, I was enjoying, you know, our sessions and being on here, and I didn't want to put out anything where I had to, you know, conflict with people who they'll watch yours and not watch mine, not watch yours, and feel like they gotta watch both, or they gotta pick one to watch, or maybe they only got 20 minutes to listen to a show. Who they gonna listen to? Right. But no, this been dope. But you mentioned compassion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's another quality.
Mm-hmm. Being
compassionate.
Right.
As a quality of love, I think that's up there.
Yeah. You know, one of my things with like compassion is like I like people who, like, say if something bad happens to me, right? I like people who can make you feel better without saying the most cliche shit, like everything's gonna be all right.
Right.
Or don't tell me something that I already know that you're gonna say because it's cliche to say it. Don't do that because I feel like you're just patronizing me and that aggravates the fuck out of me. Yeah. So like I would
you don't want to be around me. I get awkward. And sometimes I get awkward in situations.
Bro, I'm the same way. Like, when don't call me about somebody just dying. I'm the wrong person to talk to because it's gonna be awkward. Because just like I just told you, I don't want to be cliche and be like she's in a better place. Yeah. Because I understand what you're going through, like what's going on with my mom. Those thoughts have happened in my head, and all the questioning and the wondering and all that those things. So I don't want to be the person to be like, oh, it's gonna be all right. They're in a better place because I know what you're going through mentally. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I become awkward because I don't know what to say. And I'm not going to be the cliche person that every other person walking up to you saying, oh, it's going to be better. Yeah, everything's going to be all right. They're in a better place. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I do also become kind of awkward in those situations as well because just the battle in my mind about, I don't want to just say what everybody else is saying to you. I know none of us can understand what you're going through right now. So, like, you know? No,
man, yeah, it's hard to show compassion, and because it's awkward for me at times. Like it takes a lot for me. Like if I'm in a position where I got to display compassion to like the random person versus somebody that I'm intimate with,
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference, right? There's a different level of compassion that you display,
Mm-hmm.
and I think one is probably a deeper level than the other.
Mm-hmm.
But like those interactions are different. But if we're just gonna focus on the love portion of it, stick to over here. It's kind of difficult at times to display certain types of compassion, or to be compassionate when it makes you feel awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? It takes time,
Right.
and people kind of like it happens. And I don't know if like this is you can't put a time limit on when you want that.
Right.
Like you can pressure a little bit. I feel like with anything else, you can pressure a little bit, but sometimes you gotta know like, yo, I'm redlining my car right now. Let me ease up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that I can use it later on.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like interval training. You can hit it hard, but you gotta calm down sometimes.
Right.
So I think for me, it's kind of hard for me to be that way sometimes, and I don't know. And I remember specifically thinking, like, is something wrong with me? Like, why can't I say this or be this way
Mm-hmm.
for this person and they need it
Mm-hmm.
the most? Like, especially like you talking about like your friend you love. Like my boy's grandma died. I remember sitting there, man. Like I know my grandma didn't just die,
Mm-hmm.
but I just remember sitting there having this intense feeling like, you know, what am I supposed to do right now?
Mm-hmm.
And not knowing how to act.
Right.
And that feeling kind of comes across,
Right.
you know, when I try to be in those moments.
Right.
But you know, just as long as you're conscious of it, you can try to work on that. But I think that's something that's very important when you're building that relationship with somebody who you can say you love, is to be compassionate with them, be patient with them,
Right.
and just be open about those things. But
You gotta, but it's what makes it so difficult is that process of learning the other person, right? I think I said last podcast, it feels like women are more in a rush, right? And when a guy takes his time, he's looked at as like, oh, you bullshitting. But me, personally, right, I take a long time to make somebody my girlfriend, even though I'm dating you and dating you exclusively, right? It still takes a long time for me to make you my girlfriend, because I'm at a place where I'm not dating people just because the sun came up. I'm dating someone because I'm trying to find a wife. So I'm going to take the time that I need to learn you completely so that I can wholeheartedly feel like I love you and I'm marrying the right person. I'm not going to date you for 6 months and then make you my girlfriend. No, I would have to learn in 6 months that you are marriage material to make you my girlfriend in 6 months, which is probably never going to happen.
So do you feel like? So how do you view the quick marriage versus the couple who's been together for like 5 years and then gets married? So let's do the year. We've been together for a year. We're getting married. Versus the 5 year. You think that they went through different things to find the love, or they did just found it faster? The year couple found it faster.
If I had to make a bet on which one of those marriages would last longer, I would say the 5 year.
Why?
Because that's how I am. I think the earliest I was dating someone and made them my girlfriend, I think the earliest was probably 1.5 years I was dating them before I made them my girlfriend. Because I just know the world that we live in. A lot of people are scared to be themselves, right? And it's a lot of deep, dark shit happen to a lot of people, and it's a lot of issues that they bury, don't choose to deal with, act like it didn't happen. And when those things are happening, it's those layers. You got to peel them off to get to the root of what that person is. And that's what we're doing when we're dating. We're peeling it off to where we can be 100% vulnerable with each other and talk about those things and try to work through those things to both be better people. So that takes time. You don't learn someone in 3 months. You shouldn't know that. And I can't say shouldn't, because you can't speak for everybody's vibe and what they do and what they're looking for. But I personally don't feel like you can find love or find a relationship, a serious relationship, in 3 months. I feel like in 3 months, a human, just a regular human, has not shown you what enough to know, you know? And anybody who does show you enough to know in 3 months, they crazy. If somebody's unraveling all the layers in 1, 2, 3 months,
time out.
That's wild. That's a little wild. That's a little wild.
I'm not gonna. Let's not say it's too wild. Let's just say this person is open and honest with you. Like, listen. You talking to me right now? Listen, I'm only talking to guys who are. This is her. She sits down on the table and you like, yo, kind of talk to you. She's like, yeah, y'all get to chopping it up. And she's like, well, listen, we had a great conversation, but I can't give you my number. You asked her for the number. She was like, I can't give it to you because I'm only looking for a guy who's seriously interested in making a connection with me and building something and being married. That's the end goal. She says that to you, right? So I feel like right away she already done let you know more than what anybody else is going to tell you. Because most times it's like, yeah, do I want a relationship? Yeah, let's be in a relationship. But did we set a goal? Did we talk about this up front?
Right.
Like she already giving you more than what other. I've never gotten that. I mean, I haven't gotten that maybe like once or twice from women that they say that initially up front. I respect that.
I respect it too, but to me that's not telling me shit. Every woman is looking for something serious.
Right, but
it's not a women.
But it's not about what they're looking for. It's about what they tell you that they're looking for, because that's two different things.
Right. So I mean, the fact that she did say it.
Right, because most women ain't saying that, especially up front. But they might eventually say it, but
come on,
say it up front.
It's not a lot of women who are dating and not looking for something serious. So
I agree with that.
It's a lot of women. I mean, I would say majority. Let's say 90% of women. 90% of women are dating for something serious, or looking for something serious, or looking for a man or a marriage. It's part of the American dream is to be married and do the marriage thing, right? So go ahead.
Do you like? All right, we completed that idea.
Okay.
We're moving to the next one. I don't want nobody think we just jumping. What do you think about, like, Mac? Where should people be getting advice on love from?
I have no idea.
Like, cause you got.
I have no help. I have no help to that question.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know. I don't know one successful marriage in my family besides my grandmother and my grandfather on my dad's side. And I mean, they've been together since I can remember, but they're the only one, right? But like church, my parents, aunties, uncles, whatever,
right.
Nobody's had a successful marriage, right? So it's hard for me to listen to them because they never did it. So, and I know you never did it, so like. So
love is marriage then? Is that what you're saying?
Not married, but
because I feel like
I feel like
you never loved you never loved anybody that you were with that you're not married to, that you didn't marry. Yeah, of course you did. You thinking about it, so I know you did.
Because
you thought about it, so I know you did. You had to think about it. I know you did.
Right, but the only reason that I paused is because no, I'm not saying that I didn't. But what I'm saying is what my idea of love was at that time probably wasn't love. We
just talked about love. Love is subjective.
Right,
you said that.
But you're asking me.
It changes, right? But you were still in love back then, though.
But what? Okay. What I called love then, that's what I was in. But what I view as love today, that wasn't love.
Yeah. Yep.
So then my answer would be no.
No, because you did though.
I didn't, because that wasn't love.
That was love then.
No, it wasn't.
The definition, we already talked about it. We both said it changes.
No.
Just because it changes doesn't mean it didn't exist.
I'm not rolling.
Let me ask you this then. When you dated, the first girlfriend you ever dated, right now, would you say that you never dated her? No, you can't say that because it happened in the past. Even though it changed and you're not dating her anymore.
No, that's
the love was there then. It was it was defined as love then. Just because you got older doesn't mean that a love is not love anymore. The love is still love.
No. Because like, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say.
I already gave you the example.
Nah, that was reach. That was a reach.
That wasn't a reach.
Okay,
that was
just like
suited.
Just like
you can't change the past.
Just like these fucking medicine commercials, right? 10 years ago, this medicine was the shit. It was what everybody wanted. It was your idea of what the medicine you needed to fix whatever. That now, 10 years later, here we are talking about how this causes cancer and everything else. It does apply.
No, I'm gonna tell you why it doesn't apply.
It does apply
because the medicine it's not subjective on the person. That medicine is gonna do whatever it's gonna do to each and every individual. Right. It's not based off the individual's subjective thoughts about what that medicine is that is healing them.
Okay, we'll go with your point. That's I still disagree with you because I can't say I was in love with my high school girlfriend.
At the time you thought you were though, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't love.
But again, love is subjective. So
no.
Your idea of love is today can change in 20 years. It could be different.
I don't think it'll change that much from now, though. I think.
But you can by saying that you acknowledge that there's possibility. I don't think the foundation of what I feel like love is at this age today will change going forward. It's changed over the years getting to this point, but where it is now, it's like this is the last modification of what, of the foundation of what I think love is. I don't think going forward it'll change much from what I view right now. So I can see that.
So then, like, yeah, I thought that was love as a 17-year-old teenager, but I know today that wasn't love, so I still have to be able to identify that wasn't love. It was just like infatuation with another female. It wasn't love, though. As a 17-year-old, you don't know what love is.
You love your mom, though, right?
I don't think you know what love is. You tell your mom you love her because
she says it to you.
She says it to you. You say it back. But I don't think a 16-year-old, 17-year-old knows what.
I think he does, though. If you separate him from his mom, how would he act?
Because he's been told to love his mother.
No, but he didn't have to be telling. Okay, when
a lot of people don't love their
when
mom.
Babies are born, they don't have to be told that they need to be coddled. They know instinctively that they need to be coddled and held, and they know instinctively when they are that they develop better as when during social interactions, understanding what emotion is. It all plays a part. This is like scientific baby studies.
So are you going against the LBGT community saying that two men can't raise a child?
What? That has nothing to do. The one doesn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, don't do that to me. But they don't got nothing to do with each other, so we don't even got to dive into that. That's just a lost point.
Trying to get our views up.
Yeah. Well, in that case,
we're trying to get canceled.
Yeah, you will get canceled real quick.
Yeah, they'll find you too.
Real quick. You can't have opinion on anything.
No.
Yeah, or you will get canceled. Especially if it's not a popular opinion. I don't have to agree with the opinion, but the opinion should still be able to be said if we're gonna give everybody the platform to say it.
True.
I mean, now some stuff is off limits. That's why we have laws against like child pornography and things like that. Like there's stuff we can put stuff off limits to talk about to show. But I mean, to allow someone to mention how good something is, you can't say how bad it is.
True.
Like where does that go? Where does that stop at?
True. Right?
Just because we don't like it. But the thing about it is, it's always going to be the people, and now now machines have the capability to all the bots to retweet or post stuff and do that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's the people. If you don't want it to be broadcast out to the world, you don't have to retweet it. You don't have to repost it. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to comment on it.
Right.
You don't have to say anything, or you can comment on it. But I mean, what you choose to say should be. You should have the right to say it if everybody else does. Yeah. We can try to tell people, what's better for everybody, but you're always gonna have people who disagree. Yeah. You can't pick and choose. You can pick and choose because you can get your bubble and listen to what you want to, but it's good to hear what everybody got to say every once in a while.
Yeah. The problem is people think they know, and because people think they know everything, they don't want to hear nothing from nobody else.
Yeah.
I love to hear other people's perspective if it's like
If it's an interesting perspective,
because
right?
your perspective can change. Because I'm open to your perspective changing my perspective if you can tell me why, a good enough reason why. I'm open to my perspective changing. I'm not gonna say, yo, fuck whatever you got to say. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I think we covered pretty much everything that everybody was asking questions about. Can't think of anything else that was being asked.
Yeah, I feel like we touched everything. I made sure to comment on what I was getting in my DMs. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I have been getting a lot of. Well, this past episode got a lot of people in the DM commenting, shared, feedback.
Right. Yeah.
So keep that.
I wish y'all could see my DMs after I post.
Nah, your DMs be hectic. I don't want to be in yours.
It'd be insane. I'd be like, okay.
You gotta chill.
Okay. I don't know you. I don't know you. I wasn't talking to you specifically. I'm sorry. I apologize. Like, it'd be wild, but I love it, man. I love a good debate, a good little perspective exchange. If you're just crazy and just talking all stupid and shit, I really ain't trying to hear what you're saying, but I enjoyed the conversation.
Absolutely, that was dope. Ty, we missed you. We'll see you when you get back.
Deeply Opinionated Podcast. We'll see. I think our next topic, man, should I say what it is? Or should we wait?
Because if you're going to say the next topic, then you got to make 3 announcements. So let's do it in the next one.
All right.
Yeah.
The one-on-one interviews are coming soon. I'm not going to say who yet because y'all be playing and I'm not about to tell the people that y'all coming on. And then...
And if you're gonna be on, don't go giving away the material for the interview. Don't go talk to somebody else and then come to the interview and try to talk that same stuff.
They're not. I got questions. And I got questions. It ain't gonna be just your regular cheesy interview.
Right.
How long you been doing this?
Right.
What's your favorite song? What's your favorite color? You got a girlfriend? You single?
Yeah.
Nah, we're gonna have real conversations. I'm gonna be talking to everybody, artists, promoters, business owners, chefs. I got a nice little lineup of people that I'm going to be interviewing that you guys would be interested in. Got 2 celebrities interested, so I'm not going to say nobody's name yet because y'all ain't about to be asking me, yo, what's up with that such and such interview?
Right.
When I know, you guys will know. When it's on tape, when it's recorded, you guys will know. But this was What Is Love Part 2, and we out, man.